This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to I'll Have Another podcast with Lindsay Hine. I'm your host, Lindsay. Thank you for being here today. This podcast is part of the Sandy Boy Productions podcast network, which is my own little network, and we've got some great other shows in the network, including Finish Lines and Milestones, which is hosted by my friend Allie Brettnacker, the Trail Network podcast, which is hosted by Katie Asmuth, Leah Yingling, Rachel Drake, and Hillary Yang. We've got the Illuminate podcast, and we've got another one joining the network soon. So I'm really excited about that. To learn more about this show and all the shows in our network, just go to sandyboyproductions.com. Quick note there, too, I was the most recent guest on Allie Brettnacker's podcast, Finish Lines and Milestones. So if you're not sick of me from listening to this podcast every week and you want to hear a little bit more of my story and us chatting, definitely go check it out. Episode 100 on the Finish Lines and Milestones podcast. Allie and I are actually also planning a really cool event in Indianapolis on Friday, May 2nd. It's at Bottleworks Hotel downtown the day before the 500 Festival Indy Mini Marathon weekend. One of the coolest half marathons in the country. I'm definitely a big fan. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know how deep my love for Indianapolis runs. And this is a race where you get to run on the iconic Indy 500 track. You start and finish downtown Indianapolis, and it is just a beautiful weekend. The coolest course entertainment. I could go on and on. You can go to indymini.com to learn more. And then, of course, if you're going to be in town or you're from Indianapolis, but you might not be running the race, either way, come to our live event. I will tell you, we only have 30 tickets left, so you need to go to the Eventbrite and grab your tickets now if you're going to come. If you search up Lindsay Hine Live Show Indianapolis, Indiana, it'll pop up. That's what the kids say, search up, right? Or you can just go to my Instagram profile, Lindsay Hine 626, and I've got the link in my bio. But definitely grab your tickets now if you're thinking about coming, because I do intend to sell that out. We've got space for 100 and we've already sold 70 tickets. All right. My guest today is Brittany Brown. She is our 2024 bronze medalist in the 200 from the Paris Olympics. She's also a 200-meter World Silver Medalist from World Champs in Doha in 2019. In 2023, she ran in the 100 at World Champs and placed 7th. She went to the University of Iowa with 11 All-American honors. Brittany competed in the inaugural Athlos track meet in the fall, where she won the 200 meters, beating the Olympic champion and meet headliner, also meet co-founder Gabby Thomas. She was doubling in the meet, running both the 100 and the 200. And she will be one of the racers in the very much anticipated Grand Slam track coming up. It's going to be so excited to see Brittany race in the Grand Slam meets, starting off in Jamaica, heading to Miami, and then landing in Philadelphia. She's coached by Boogie Johnson. And in this episode, we hear about her progress from running at the University of Iowa to going pro. She ran for Adidas for a while. Now she runs for Nike, and what the trajectory of her career has looked like. We also talk about some health issues that she has walked through. I had so much fun interviewing Brittany. Didn't want it to end. And she's got a fan for life right here because it is so exciting to watch her race. So make sure you're tuning in to Grand Slam track and you're watching Brittany. It's also going to be an exciting year with World Championships coming up as well. Well, USA's and then World Championships. And I'm excited to bring you some of these interviews with some of our track stars. Veering off from the marathon a little bit here, but hey, it's track season and that's what we do. All right, one more event I want to tell you about before we start this conversation with Brittany. I want to make sure you know about the Foot Levelers Blue Ridge Marathon April 12th because I'm going to be there race announcing. I'm so excited to join this beautiful race in Roanoke, Virginia. This is America's toughest road race. The course takes runners up and down Mill Mountain to the famous Star Overlook, Roanoke Mountain, and Peakwood Drive, and gives runners a chance to run along the Blue Ridge Parkway, America's favorite drive. They've got runners from all over the country and the world coming in for this race, and the community in Roanoke shows up big. Spectating, cheering, handing out snacks, playing music, creating a festival-like atmosphere on the course. And one of my favorite parts that I am excited about to soak in that weekend is they have the Freedom First Down by Downtown Music Festival. So it is a weekend of music and running, so much fun. We cap off the weekend. So the race is Saturday, April 12th, and we cap off the weekend with the Sunday Slow K, which is Sunday, April 13th. I love a marathon that has a recovery slow 5K the next day. That's incredible. The day of the race, though, there's a half marathon, a 10K. They even have a double marathon, and they have a family 1 miler. If you are going to be in Roanoke and you're going to be at the Blue Ridge Marathon, make sure you flag me down. I would love to say hello. If you haven't registered yet and you're going to do that race, you can use the code Lindsay. That's Lindsay with an EY, LINDSEY, and that'll get you 20% off your registration. All right, friends, please enjoy my conversation with the lovely Brittany Brown. All right, friends, we have another track athlete on the show today. Brittany Brown, welcome to All Have Another podcast.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
So excited to have you on the show and excited to learn a little bit more about track and field and talk to one of the stars of track and field these days. I want to start by saying congratulations for not only making your first Olympics last year, but also for medaling in the 200.
Thank you. Yeah, it was crazy Olympic experience, making the team, and then my first Olympic team, and I medal. So it was a crazy good experience.
Oh my gosh. We'll just start there. Tell me your favorite part about the experience.
On the track or off the track or both?
Let's do both.
Okay, I would say on the track, definitely the first round. I was there for obviously the third round I got a medal, but the anticipation. I feel like people when you are racing or competition, the anticipation is sometimes the worst part. So when I was finally able to get on the track, I was like, finally. I've been here for a week and a half. It was just a great feeling to just finally get on the track. And then once you're in that mode, you're in that mode. But the thoughts and the emotions leading up to it is kind of hard, and you're trying to balance it all. And you're also in an Olympic Village where there's so many people. So that was my first experience in an Olympic Village. So it was kind of a lot, but the track has always been a safe space and a calming space for me. So when I was able to get to the track, I was like, okay, I know this space. I know what to do here. I know how my body's going to react and adjust. It was very comforting. The track was. So yeah, that was a great experience. The first time you set me on the track for the first round was a really a homey feel. Yeah. I would say off the track, after, I think it's the second day, I think, after you win a medal, you have all these interviews the next morning, which I did not know. You literally have to go get your medal and go through drug testing and all the media, and you don't get back until I don't know, your room till 3, 4 a.m. after seeing all your family and friends. And then you have all the NBC interviews the next day at 8 a.m. So you don't really get a lot of sleep. So it's just you're on go. After, I would say one of the best feelings after off the track was being able to be with my family that were able to come out there. So that was nice. And even I did a little solo trip after, just went into Paris and went in the city, got a little Uber, and I was I was hopefully no one notices me, because I'm in Europe, they really, really love track, and they are diehard. So I was hopefully someone did notice me, and I was oh, please, I just want to be incognito for a second. So, and I was just there, I got dinner, I got ice cream, and I was just able to have some me time, and I think that was like really important. That was one of like my highlights. After I got some pizza, I put on a cute little outfit, and it was nice. It was really nice to just be there in that moment, and kind of like by myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just picturing you like having that alone time, like letting it all settle in.
Yes.
Like I am an Olympian and an Olympic medalist at this
Yes.
point in my life.
Yes.
Because I did hear you talk about that you like your time, like you like your alone time.
I do. It's so funny because like I'm very extroverted, and the
Yeah.
people assume that about me, and I am, but I really do like my alone time, and I'm conscious that I need it to like be out in spaces. So when you get in the village, it's like so many people, like, I think there was like 8 girls to like a whole apartment. So I was like, I haven't done this since college. Like, yeah, I was like, oh my God, like, hello everyone. It was 8 girls to a room. Like, you're always like seeing people, and always, I have a sports psych, and I was telling her like while I was there, I was like, yeah, it's kind of like the first day, I was a bit overwhelmed. I was telling her, I was like, I just need like find like a space just by myself. And it's so funny because there's like little carts that they drive us around to the Olympic Village. Like they have people, like the village is big, and they have the carts like parked kind of like by the dining hall. And one day I was like, oh my God, there's no one there. There's literally no one there. So I sat there and did like my little meditation, and like just had a moment just by myself. And there was a guy that was like trying to fix one of the carts, and it was 2 guys trying to fix one of the carts. And I was like in my little, visualizing, meditating, finding my little Zen moment. And the guy was like, oh, like after I was done, he was like, I saw you meditating, and I was just so happy, and I made sure like the other people around were like really quiet because I know it's a lot. I was like, thank you. I just needed one moment.
Yes. Well, it's not your first time on a world stage. The 2019 World Championships where you medaled, and then 2023, correct? 2023.
So 2019 medal, yes, and then 2023 I made the final in the 100. So.
In the 100.
Yes.
So third, like world.
Yes,
world
this is
stage.
like my third world stage. Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. So you've been through that system, right? Where like you go through the round. I mean, you've gone through rounds a million times, but like on a world stage. But as your first experience at the Olympics, you said you felt calm once you hit the track for the first round. I'm curious, like, how you processed it, because I imagine if you're someone who you're like, this is my second or third Olympics, I've made it to the finals before, I've made it to a medal before, like, I got to just get through these rounds to make it to the finals in one piece so I can compete to my best. How did you, as your first time at the Olympics, process, like, how hard do I go on these first rounds to make sure I get through? And then obviously full send at the end.
Good question. I think, like, obviously this is my first Olympics, and I've obviously been at World Championships, so the rounds are a bit different, I would say.
Okay.
Different and the same. I think I applied the same approach, but more so in the sense of what was different was like dominance. And I think that was like the word that like my coach like and I talked about, like going through the rounds, like, having to be dominant from the start to the finish, winning the round as much as you can. And I think that was probably a difference for me, making sure that I was like trying or, winning the rounds. So that gave me more confidence every round leading up to the final. So that was probably the biggest difference. But I definitely know the experience I've had from World Championships definitely like played a big part into the Olympics. But obviously the Olympics is the Olympics, so it was totally different. And the crowd was so much more. I didn't look up at all until the final, until the end of the final. But the crowd is just so much more bigger at the Olympics. So yeah, there's different things that you have to do, but like I think experience definitely played a big role into like how I approached the rounds.
So you weren't, I don't know if this is even the right way to phrase it, so tell me if it's not, but
Okay.
you weren't like saving anything in the rounds, because also like different with the 200 than the 100 because it takes more stamina for the 200? You tell me.
Was I saving anything? Well, I mean, I didn't, I PR'd at trials, at U.S. trials. I didn't PR. I mean, I always tell people the U.S. trials is the hardest team to make. Like, you literally basically have to PR, which I did. Was I saving anything? I don't think so. I think I was just really fit and in shape. I think the time was just the time. I didn't PR at the Olympics, but not saving anything. Just really aware of my body and what I could do. So when the time came, I don't even know what I ran the first round, but it was just like a time, and I was like, okay, I felt good. I felt strong. I felt good. And next round. So yeah, not really saving, just like a conscious awareness of my body.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so intuitive.
Yeah.
You bring up your sports psych quite a bit.
I have, yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I'm actually gonna talk to her right after this call.
Nice.
Yeah. I've been working with her since 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I first signed my first shoe contract, like I was having a bit of like a lot of like race anxiety. I've never like really experienced that before. Like my first year, I did not have a contract. So like you're going from having a contract or not having a contract to having a contract. And I think people don't realize sometimes like the expectation sometimes can be daunting. And for me, I really struggled that first year on contract. I was like, oh my God, like now people, the first year I was just running to run and, like I medaled, it was great. And now I'm just like, these people have expectations and, you get trapped in the idea that you're doing it for them when that's not the reality. So I've been working, that's when I started working with her, when I was really kind of struggling with like just racing. So we've been working together for almost like 4 or 5 years now. It's been really, really helpful for me, just talking about goals and visualization. And even when it comes to practice, like, there's a lot of stuff that I do to prepare myself for practice and competition, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, like all that. So I think for me, it's definitely a full circle thing. I've definitely, as I've gotten older, like realized that. And there's some things like, like the first year when we started working together, like I used to have to be so rigid about my routine before. And not to say I'm not rigid about my routine now, but as you get older, like you become more adaptable and more malleable. And there's certain things I just don't have to do anymore. And you go and every year you add new stuff, you take away some stuff. And but it's been really helpful for me having her. It's been really, a change in my career. Just able to like see what you want as an athlete and why. I think the why is like always like we talk about the why so much. Like why are we doing? And every year I feel like the why changes, especially as you get older. Like what you want is just like it's just different, and you realize like you're just doing it for different stuff and doing it for different reasons. So like I tell anyone like if you're struggling mentally, like especially with competition, like I think that's a good start. And well, what works for me, and I think it just like, like I kind of know myself as an athlete, as a person, like all these aspects are really important to me to show up as my best self on the track and off the track. So yeah.
Whatever athletic endeavor you are taking on, you got to check out Anderson's Pure Fuel Maple Syrup. This is a simple sugar with a low glycemic index, all natural, and an excellent substitute for sugar. It is rich in vitamins, minerals, including manganese, riboflavin, zinc, potassium. It's quickly metabolized into fuel when you exercise, and it's filled with 63 antioxidants that protect cells from oxidative stress during intense exercise. This is a great way to fuel on the run. I know a lot of people get GI irritation on the run, and if you haven't tried maple syrup for fueling, I highly recommend it. Ditch the artificial and go straight from syrup on your waffles to syrup for your workouts. The packets, the Pure Fuel packets, they have 27 grams of carbohydrates in them, 110 calories. The only thing you will want to think about when using this as your fueling source is your sodium. So you can get your sodium from your electrolyte drink. You can take salt tabs. You can rotate this in as one of your fueling options. It's definitely going to be easier on the stomach than a lot of the gels you're seeing out there, and I highly recommend giving it a shot. You can learn more at organicpurefuel.com, and you can use the code FUEL20, that's FUEL20, FUEL20 for 20% off your order at Anderson's Organic Pure Fuel. So go to organicpurefuel.com and use that code FUEL20, FUEL20 for 20% off. Let me know if you try it. Let me know what you think. All right, back to the show. When you crossed the finish line at the Olympics, when did you realize I was third?
Nail biter right there.
Right?
The final wasn't like, and like I said, I didn't PR all the rounds. The final wasn't the best executed race for me.
Okay. Wow.
And, like you're running and, you're not really sure where you're at in the race. And I didn't know where I was at in the race either. I was really close. It was really, really close. I didn't know until after I don't know, the seconds felt like years because you're just waiting.
When you're waiting.
You're waiting. You're just looking up at the board and just like, please let me medal, please.
Did you think?
What'd you say?
Did you think it was you knew it was between
you
and one other person?
I knew it was close. I knew it was close. So, I really did know it was close. And, we're all just looking up at the board trying to see who got third and whatnot. But yeah, it took a while for it to pop up, and then it finally popped up. I was just overjoyed, and I was laying down, just trying to take it all in because it just, it just happened. And there's this picture of me, and I'm laying on the ground. They're like, "Are you tired?" I was I wasn't really tired. You don't really, for the 200, you have to have obviously stamina, and you don't really, for me, I don't really get tired after a 200, like a workout tired. But I was it was a relief that I medaled, and then there's also just a moment of taking it all in. So I was just laid out on the track, and my granny sent me this picture. She's like, "Someone was asking me, were you okay after the race?" I was like, "Yes, I was okay. I was just taking it all in and just taking a second." So yeah, it was a nail biter. It was a nail biter for third. But I did come out and get a medal, so that was good. That was really, really good.
Okay, maybe a weird question, but was it more of a relief in celebration making the team or medaling? I assume for your first Olympics, it's just I'm an Olympian. I did it. I made my first team. But then once you get there, you're okay, goal is medal. Which one felt more or can you even compare?
I think you can compare. I think making the team. I think I would definitely say making the team.
Okay.
That, and maybe because this is my first Olympics, but that was so hard. The U.S. is just so packed. There's so many of us who could make a team, who could, fight for a spot. So the team itself was, hard. I mean, I made the team before for Worlds, but making the Olympic team is just different. Yeah, I definitely had more relief after trials. I think after the Olympics, I was definitely more excited and was able to be in that excitement of it. So yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, so you don't train with any of the women in the 200 or 100? What does your training situation look like?
So my coach is Boogie Johnson. I train in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I train with a lot of you probably don't know much about him, but he is a hurdle coach.
Okay.
Really, that's his name, hurdle mechanic. So he's named himself after being a hurdle specialist. I left Iowa. So I used to train with my college coach. I left Iowa, and I believe in 2021, and I started training with Boogie Johnson in 2021, 2022. And I train with a lot of other 400-meter hurdlers.
Okay.
Run the 400. For example, like Delilah Muhammad, Alexis Holmes, Anna Cockrell. Like I train with a lot of other 400-meter hurdlers. So I get the best of both. Obviously, I don't hurdle. I would never hurdle. But like I get the best of the stamina side. I really get that. I get pushed a lot in practice when it comes to that side of like the strength portion. So yeah, that's who I trained with, and my coach is a college coach. He coaches at the University of Arkansas. So we're around like, you're able to see the collegiate side, and then you're able to see the pro side, and the collegiate are also able to see us train, and we're also to see them train, and yeah, so it's like a cool little experience to be around, like, and then his brother, Chris, has other pros. There's a lot of pros that train on Fayetteville, Arkansas, so I'm around a lot of different pros from different countries, and it's just a good experience to be around so many, that's why that's one of the reasons why I left Iowa, because I didn't have although I medaled my first year with my college coach, like I didn't have any training partners, and I was like, I think it's time for me to like be in a group, and I hadn't been in a group in a very long time, so the transition was a bit different. I think every athlete can attest to that. Like going from group to group is different, and you don't know what the vibe is going to be like, and you don't know like whether it's distance or throwing or jumping. Like we can all test to be like, oh my god, like I'm in a different group, like I don't know how everything's gonna go and adjust, but it's been good so far. I'm really happy that I'm in this group. Obviously there's not a lot of sprinters, but I'm really able to like see these women really work really hard, and just super, super motivated by them, by their workouts and what they do. Training is very hard. I think we all have this common motivation of, the goals that we have, and we're able to feed off each other. So it's really good to be training with a group of strong women.
What, like, of all the groups and places you could have chosen to train, did you choose that group because of the coach or because of the group? I mean, it seems like a random place to be. But maybe not. Maybe not.
I know. Well, it's random in the sense of like, yeah, my coach, he has coached some sprinters in the past, but like, he's known for hurdling. Like if you look up Boogie Johnson, like hurdle specialist, like, yeah, that's his thing. So I chose it for two reasons. Obviously the group of women, I wanted to be around like women. Obviously I could have went anywhere, but also my coach. I think, when you're feeling out someone, and, it's kind of like an interview process. You're interviewing a coach, you're talking, you're seeing what like, what can work or what doesn't work. And I think in conversation with him, it was definitely felt like a right fit. And then my college coach at the time, he was giving me some advice, and he was saying, I think this would be a good fit for you in regards to training. So that was nice to get like like I think our training is a little bit similar, and you can get something more intense from him, and also training with other women. So yeah, definitely his style, his approach, I definitely think fits me. And I always tell people that like, what works for you works for you. What doesn't work for you may not work for another person. So so far, I've PR'd in every event, the 60, the 1, the 2, the 4. So since I've been with him, I've made 2 teams with him. And this is our first medal together last year. So yeah, it's been good. I was telling him the other day, he was like, how long have we been together? I'm like, I don't know, like 3. He's like, it feels like 10. I'm like, I know. But yeah, it's been going good. It's been going good. Definitely have built a good coaching athlete relationship.
So you mentioned Iowa not being like a huge track school, and just the trajectory, I think, play it forward of like, okay, you're going to this school that is not necessarily known for being a big track school. Fast forward like 6 years or however many years it was to like world championship medal, going to the world championships in the 100, and then medaling at the Olympics. when did you see that this could be a trajectory for you? And why did you decide to go to Iowa? 2 questions.
It's funny because I get it so much because like I'm originally from Southern California.
Yeah.
So I get it, that question, like, why'd you go to Iowa?
Like, why Iowa? Seems random.
Well, so I wasn't really heavily recruited in high school. I only went to state championships one time. It's really hard to make state championships.
In
I only went
California.
once. I went my senior year. The state is in, I want to say, June. So by that time, everyone's pretty much signed and, know where they're going. I had no idea where I was going. An old high school teammate of mine went to Iowa, and we were texting one day, and he was like, "Oh, you signed?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I haven't signed. Like, I think I had to visit Texas Tech, and I visited San Diego State. I think I just got back from a visit in San Diego, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to stay. I knew I didn't want to stay in California." And he was like, "Did you sign yet?" I was like, "No, like, I think I was running like 11.3. I hadn't been signed yet." And the coach texted me, and I think I flew out the week of regionals, outdoor regionals for them to Iowa. And the rest is history. I think I always tell people, like, Iowa City, if you go to Iowa City, like, you'll understand Iowa City.
Really?
Yeah, if you go to Iowa City, like, it's a good place. Like, not only really staying in Iowa City, but I love Iowa City. Like, Iowa City is, like, and that's where I grew up, basically. Like, I started college at 18. I didn't leave Iowa until
Wow. Yeah.
because I started my pro career there. So I didn't leave Iowa until I was like, I don't even know, 24, 25. So I was there for almost 7, 8 years. I literally grew up in Iowa. Like, obviously I grew up in home, but like my adult growing up was in
your
Iowa.
adulthood.
Yeah, my adulthood like was in Iowa. So
wait, what do we love about the city so much? I know nothing about it.
Iowa City is just like, and everything's different. I actually just went back in November. They like honored me. And it's different now, but I just feel like it's very, very college towny, and also like it's a very, the school in itself is really big on writing and like the arts and all that stuff. So I really like that aspect. And then like if you go downtown, like I don't know, it just feels very, feels like a place where you can like try new things. And I don't think a lot of towns offer that sometimes. And like, I don't know. I think Iowa City was a good place for me to start my adulthood and figure out what I like, what I don't like. And, I think, and also in the track world, like, I think there wasn't a lot of sprinters there, but my coach did the best he could and what he had. And, I think we made a stamp on the sprinting side of Iowa City there. And it's a place that just, you just gotta go and feel it. It's a very cute little whimsical Iowa City town, and the people are cute and nice, and Iowa nice is a thing. Like when so Iowa nice, like people were always like, "Oh yeah, Iowa nice." So it just means like everyone's just so overly nice. Like they're like, "Hi."
Like Midwest nice.
It's like the Midwest. Yeah. So
Iowa
it's like
Midwest.
Iowa nice. Yeah. Iowa's Midwest. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm from Indiana, so I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's definitely like, and I would tell people I'm from California, they're like, "Oh, Californians are rude." I'm like, "I don't know." Literally,
I was just in California race announcing at the Napa Valley Marathon. I kept trying to like talk to random people, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like in some places you don't just like talk to people that you don't really know." It's like a different, and I'm all like, hugging. I'm a hugger. And
yes. So
yeah,
I think Iowa City provided that for me. It was a whole different, like, obviously my adolescent age. I grew up in California, so it was a different experience. Like I walked away with so many, obviously success on the track, but best friends I have for life now, godmother of their kids, like, I truly walked away with like lifelong like relationships with these people. So Iowa City was great. And then I think for the track side, like I don't know, like I said, I wasn't heavily recruited, but I'm a person that like goes off feeling. And when I went on my visit, I was like, it just feels right, even though it's far away and I've never experienced snow and this is going to be crazy, but it just felt right. Like, I think sometimes when you go to like the bigger name schools, you can get lost. And, there's so many athletes there for the coach and they're worried about this and that. Like for me, it was just very like a personalized, like, like coaching athlete, figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me and whatnot. So, and yeah, I thought it was just like good in that sense, in the sense of like, I could like really grow here. So, and yeah, I just didn't want to go to a really big name school. Like I could, like I said, I wasn't heavily recruited, but I wanted to go somewhere where I could build something. And I think I felt, I was actually the first woman in Iowa track and field history to ever medal.
Nice.
At the Olympics. So
wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So, to go back and in November to be honored for that and obviously for my medal, it's just like, like you don't have to go to a big school. Like you can go somewhere and build something there and grow something there and really work on it.
Yeah, I mean, you just wonder what your college experience might have been like, because what if you come into this big school and you don't come in as like one of the stars that the coach is like really nurturing, and like would you have got lost and not had like you said, a very like specific plan for you, because it maybe they just wouldn't have had enough
Time.
eyes on you or time.
Yes. Yeah. I think sometimes like I have heard that from athletes. Like, you go to a bigger school and they're maybe focused on this person and that thing and and it's just like they don't have time. They don't have time to look at you and, to really grow with you and figure out like what really works for you as an athlete. And sometimes they do. I'm not gonna knock all big schools, but I
Yeah,
do
for
know that sometimes it can happen when you get lost. You get lost in the sauce and you're not really like, really looked at. And, I think I wanted to really grow in my sport and what I could do. And I think Iowa and the coach provided that place for me to grow. So, yeah.
I want to dive into some of your health stuff, and I want to talk about Grand Slam, and I want to talk about Athlos. So many things to hit still. But let's go to health, and then we'll go to Athlos and Grand Slam. You've had like some major like endometriosis and all sorts of things regarding like, didn't you have like ovarian cysts and just like, man, just complications. And so I know you've gotten a little bit more involved in that community too of women who deal with that. And it's something where like, you're in this like immense pain and you're like, am I supposed to feel like this? Why am I in so much pain? Is the doctor telling me like correct information? So I'm just maybe curious to hear you talk about like walking through something that is so painful and hard while being a professional athlete, using your body for your job.
I started experiencing like or noticing, I think sometimes when you, especially as women, like we can be very dismissive of your pain, of our pain sometimes, and dismissive of the signals of our bodies. So in college, I started noticing it was just like, oh, I think this is a little too painful. Like I feel like, the signals that my body are giving right now aren't something I should ignore. So I started experiencing really, really bad, painful periods in college. And then as I got to my pro career, like endo is a chronic inflammatory disease. So it doesn't just affect like your periods. It can affect like off your periods. It can affect anything. And endo can grow anywhere in your body. So, it's not, I think sometimes people think it's just like a period thing, and it's not. It can be cyclical around your period, but it can be anywhere. It can be found anywhere. Yeah, in college, I started experiencing pain. It wasn't, and it was like Big Tens, I want to say. My freshman or sophomore year, I went to go see a doctor, and she's like, oh, you're fine. Like, just good luck. Good luck at Big Tens. Run fast. And I remember like thinking, I'm like, I don't think I know. Like, I feel like my period shouldn't make me pass out or feel like or making me throw up. Like, I'm in excruciating pain. Like, I don't think that's normal. So that was in college. I dealt with the pain and just trying to figure out, like, things to subside it. And I didn't really know what was going on. By the
Did
time
she, like, investigate? Like, did she give you an ultrasound?
No. And that's the thing, like, most times that, you know, when women come in for certain issues, like, there's no diagnostic testing. It's like, and she did tell me, I think you should just get on birth control. And I'm like, I don't think I really want that.
Yeah, like, do I want to commit to that? Like, doing
Yeah,
that in
and
my body right now?
yeah, especially as an athlete, I don't think people understand, like, birth control really affects your body as an athlete, especially. And I don't know, I didn't want to do that. That wasn't something I wanted to do. So left Iowa in, I want to say 2023. That was the year I first started talking about it. My first U.S. team in the 100. I started talking about it openly and publicly. So that year in January or February, I met with a different doctor in Texas, and she did, like, more testing and diagnostic stuff, like MRIs, ultrasounds, and the gold standard for diagnosing endo is through a surgery, but you can also see certain, like, the ovarian cysts I talked about is for specifically with endo, it's called an endometrioma. So you can sometimes see that on scans, MRIs. So yeah, she was able to see that on my scan. And she was able to confirm that, like, I do in fact have endo in regards to all my symptoms and what she was able to see. Like, she was able to confirm that, and also in regards to my fertility. And I talk about this a lot, don't talk about it a lot, but, like, you can also tell, like, in certain people, certain women, like, it starts affecting your fertility. So yeah, she was able to tell from all those things. And 2023, I made the team in the 100, I want to say in May or June of that year. And I did, like, my first big interview with it was funny. It was, like, after the race, after I made the team in the 100, this, like, period company called It's August, like, they were, like, doing interviews, and she was asking me, she's like, oh, do you have painful periods? And I was like, yeah, I actually have endometriosis. And she was like, what? Really? I was like, yeah, I do. So yeah, I remember I look back on that video sometimes. It's actually on my Instagram. I look back on it, and I just remember being like,
I'm coming out with it.
Literally, am I telling people? Like, I remember being so scared, but I was also just really, like, you know,
What do you think you were scared of? Just, like, the stigma, or?
I think, you know, the question that you asked is, like, you know, like, you worded it in a way of, like, I have, like, endo and I use my body.
Yeah.
And it is, like, it's, you know, I was worried that, and sometimes I still am, like, worried that, like, people may be like, oh, she has this, so she can't compete. Or it's not going to be viable for her to compete. And, you know, like, is she going to make money and stuff like that because she has this condition and it's pretty painful. And in fact, I was just like, you know,
like, it affecting competitors and sponsors.
Yeah, yes. So that's what I was, like, nervous about. I was like, is me being open with this, is this going to affect competition? Is this going to affect sponsors and stuff like that? So that was my concern in sharing. And most times all that stuff isn't real. And it hasn't been for me so far. But
clearly, bronze medalist at the Olympics.
Clearly.
Nike sponsorship.
Yeah. So, you know, like, I had fear. And also it was like, you know, I was also nervous of, like, you know, this is very personal, but I know a lot of women experience this. And even with me sharing, like, a lot of athletes have told me that they haven't, and just asked me for advice. So yeah, it's been for endo, it takes about almost 7-8 years to be diagnosed, and that was pretty much my process with it. It took about like 7-8 years to be diagnosed. And it's been a wild ride ever since, honestly. And yeah, that was back in 2023 when I first started talking about it and trying to find different specialists and doctors and, trying to mitigate pain. And I think I lightly touch on this sometimes, but as you get older with your body, we talk about fertility. It's just I do a sport where I use my body. I do a job where I use my body. So and I also, endo is a chronic inflammatory disease. And what can cause inflammation in your body sometimes is stress. And I do a high stressful job sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes it's kind of crazy because I do a high stressful job and I'm trying to mitigate the growth and mitigate the pain. But stress also causes endo, causes growth, can cause, and cause more inflammation in your body. So it's a weird dichotomy to live in once you realize that. That realization of what I'm doing may be counterintuitive to my future self. But yeah, it's been besides that part of holding that and being aware of that. And, I think, and we talked about sports psych and why, your why just becomes so much more different now. When you have those truths and those realities that you live with, your why becomes, I shared my first year on contract, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, my sponsors, what if I mess up? And then it's just the why is different now. The why I'm on the track now is different. And obviously I have stuff that I have to do within my contract and whatnot and live up to. But why I'm doing it is so much more imprinted on my life right now. And I think because of this diagnosis. And also because of me getting older and also figuring out what I want, what I don't want, what I like, and what I do like. So yeah, it's been a weird but really nice time to share what this how this has impacted my life. I feel very, very connected to a lot of women, a lot from all across sports and entertainment and whatnot. Weirdly enough, to be mutually connected by such a painful disease and such a frustrating disease. But yeah, I feel very connected. I also feel very empowered by these women.
Hey friends, we have Previnex to thank for supporting this podcast. They've been supporting the show for years. This is where you got to get all of your supplements. They've got multivitamins, joint supplements, protein powder. Their Neurify Plus protein powder is a mainstay in this house. Nothing makes me feel like a good mom more than making a nutrient-dense smoothie for my kids, and I use the Neurify powder for that. I want to read you a review, though, about their muscle health that is just wild, how incredible this product is. I take their muscle health, which has creatine in it, after I lift, so I take it 3 days a week. This is a review from someone that used my code straight from the website. I don't know who it is. It is a regular customer, though, who uses this product. And she says, as a menopausal woman trying to stay active, I read Dr. Stacy Sims' book, Next Level. I started taking creatine alone in February 2023, which immediately helped my mood and stamina training for a 5-day cycle tour. Upon recommendations of other very active older women in the Hit Play Not Pause Facebook group and working on strength training, I started taking Muscle Health Plus. This has taken my training up a notch, build endurance, and minimize next day soreness so I can keep active. I've also been using this along with the Joint Health Plus and have eliminated most of the joint muscle pain that was holding me back from being active. It has been 10 years since I ran a 10K. 2025 has me registered for one 10K and looking at a late summer spring triathlon. The last try I did was 2014. What an amazing testament to these products really working. So that is a testament for their muscle health and their joint health. I also am a big fan of the gut health. This is their super greens that I take every morning before I drink my coffee. It's what I have first thing in the morning. It helps with natural energy and also just helps with your gut in general. Highly effective products. Go to Previnex.com, use the code ANOTHER at checkout to purchase anything. If you want to try the creatine, the muscle health for the first time, and you've already used my code another, you can use the code Lindsay Strength to get 15% off. And then if you are new to the gut and green superfood, you can use the code Lindsay Superfoods to get 15% off. I love seeing these testimonies. These products work and you can feel good too. Go to Previnex.com to check it out. All right, back to the show. Yeah. Well, it's like, it is like anytime you're talking about like your personal, like internal body parts, there's just something like, it does feel a little bit private. But like you were saying, like when you share it, this is not health related, but I feel like anytime I share something like super personal, like in regards to like my emotions with parenting or something like that, that is when I feel like the most connected to the people or like following or whatever, because I'm sharing something that's vulnerable, you know? Did you feel like when you finally got your diagnosis, like how important did you feel it was to go to a woman doctor, and do you go to a woman doctor of color?
No, I do not. The lady who diagnosed me was a woman, which was like really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she was not a woman of color, but she was a
Okay.
woman. Yeah, I think that's important. I always tell people the lens that I always will forever always have is that I am a Black woman. So that lens will always be there for me. And, I've had doctors, male, white doctors that have been very dismissive and very rude. Get a hysterectomy or have a baby. And I'm like, it's so interesting that you would tell a Black woman to get a hysterectomy knowing the medical racism that happens
Yeah.
specifically with Black women in regards to hysterectomies, in regards to maternal care, like,
Mm-hmm.
maternal death rate, stuff like that. Like, it's, it was very interesting that he said that. I never saw a doctor again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the lens that I always have will be that. And one of the first like organizations that I've kind of worked with that shared my story it's called an organization called Endo Black. And it's just for Black women who have endo, a space for a nonprofit for that. And phenomenal women who do a lot of work because it is another layer. It is another layer to be, not only a woman, but a Black woman in these spaces talking to doctors and trying to navigate and stand up for yourself and stick up for yourself and just be like, no, there's something wrong. Like, I know there's something wrong and I need you to keep pushing it. I need you to keep doing the diagnostic testing that I feel like should not be that hard to ask for. Like the first doctor I met back in college, like there was no testing done. So it's like,
That's
if
crazy.
I'm telling you I'm having periods that make me throw up, like I think we should do at least an ultrasound at least. So
And nobody wants a transvaginal ultrasound. Nobody wants to do that.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't on top of my list, my sophomore, junior year in college. But I also didn't want to be throwing up, from my workouts or, for me, as I was like getting older, I was also starting to have pain like off my period. So that's why I said like, it's not just a period disease. You can experience symptoms such as nausea, headaches, a variety of stuff off your period. So that was another like big sign for me. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this pain not just on my period. Like I'm feeling these symptoms like not just on my period. So yeah, I think it's important to find someone that you feel comfortable and trusted with. From all the endo girlies I follow, like they always push. You need to find someone who is a specialist in this field. You can't just go to a regular OB/GYN, and even though they may do, some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some studies and research on this, but like, are they actually like doing other stuff for it and doing just a lot of other stuff? So I think I was really always happy for the advice from them, like finding people who know what this is and have been doing this, have kind of like devoted their whole life to this. Like that's who you need to go to. You need to go to a specialist in whatever you want to do. So yeah, I would definitely say that a specialist is important, and finding whoever you trust and feel comfortable with, whether it's a woman, Black, or whatever, a male, Yeah, but the first person that ever was able to tell me that was a woman, and
Was a woman.
yeah, and it was funny. Her daughter actually knew me. She was like, "I'm not supposed to tell you this,
Aw.
but my daughter knows you, and she loves you. She watches track, and it was a full circle
Oh.
moment." So yeah, I remember being her. I think I have a video I recorded myself after. I was like, "Yeah, this doctor, the first
Oh.
doctor that ever told me that I had endo," and I was like, "This is kind of crazy," and I just yeah, it was I think the diagnosis of having like a medical professional like confirm it for you
Mhm.
is a mix of relief
Mhm.
and also a mix of like, okay, what do I do now? Like, there's
Yeah.
no, technical like cure for this. So how do we mitigate? Like, what is the best steps for me being a professional female athlete? What that looks like for me. So, yeah, it was a crazy experience. Being told that and being confirmed that, and yeah, been a wild ride sharing since. So yeah.
Do you so like do you still go to that doctor, or you're going somewhere different now, that someone that
Yeah,
specializes?
I'm going somewhere different, just
Yeah.
because I moved and,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and I wanted to, like, yeah, just because I moved, I'm going somewhere different.
Yeah. It's smart though to go like, cuz like any OBGYN can like diagnose that and then like
Mhm.
maintain care, but you're so
Mhm.
right. Like go to someone who like, this is what I live and breathe.
Yes, yes, that's literally all the people I follow. They tell me, or they have always pushed that you need to go to someone who this is what they do, whether it's someone who endo surgery or endo fertility care or just regular endo like management for symptoms. Like, you need to go to someone who lives and breathes this and
Yeah.
doesn't just see this once in a blue moon. Like, 1 in 10 women have it. I believe actually it may be 1 in 7 now. So it's like,
Wow.
you need to go to someone who knows what they're talking about. So I
Wow.
definitely have taken that advice to a T.
Yeah, so you talked about the fertility piece of this, and that is such an emotional thing because as women, we're like, okay, we have this many years.
Mhm.
Like, you know how you once you hit 40, 45, like this clock is done, right?
Mhm.
And so it's this like, as an athlete in general, it's like a hard thing to manage because like, when do I
Mhm.
decide to have kids? Like, where's this
Mhm.
going? But then you also have this like added layer of, when I am ready to have kids, can I? How hard will it be? What will I have to do?
Mhm.
Um, and it sounds like you talk to your sports psych a lot about life in general
Mhm.
too. How do
Yeah.
you manage those feelings knowing that like they're gonna be there? Like they're not gonna
Yeah.
go away.
Hmm. How do I manage those feelings? I don't know. I think I'm still in the process of managing that. I think, with me also turning 30 this year, and like, I'm getting a little older. So, but these years, these next probably 3 to 4 years, um, they say like your late 20s to your early 30s are your prime years on the track.
Hmm.
So, but also eggs are dwindling maybe. It's such a weird thing to hold. How do I deal with those emotions? I journal a lot, I write a lot. I learning how to be more expressive with myself, and yeah, I think it's just like, for me as an athlete, I know that I cannot let this, for me to be able to perform on the track, like, I can't be thinking about how many
Hmm.
eggs do I have left on the start line. Like, I can't
Yeah.
do that. I
Yeah.
can't have that. I think a lot of it's just for me as an athlete. Like, I think a lot of women, um, who are in their 30s who have endo can think about that. But I physically can't if I want to do my job. So there's a lot of compartmentalizing that I'm doing. I'm putting this
Mm.
here and I'm putting this there, and I'll talk about this now, and I'll do this, I'll visit this, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing to compartmentalize so I can be on the track and show up. So that goes on a lot. I think after the season, after a track season, there's a lot of like, yeah, you have time to think. So I think when you're on
Mm.
the go, you're just going, 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 and after you're like, okay, like now I have time to think, and I'm able to like really sit with it a lot more. The possibilities of like what could be with this endo. So yeah, I think my off season has always been really important for me to like have that time to really sit with it and figure out like what I want to do. But while I'm in season, um, there's like times and spaces that I do allocate, and like yeah, there's times and spaces that I will talk, and there's times and spaces I won't talk and about it to people or to anyone. Like I said, like this is the first podcast I'm doing where I'm talking about endo, and so I do allocate. Like I tell people all the time like this is also my lived experience. So like,
Yeah.
and I also still have to show up and run 22 seconds. So it can be a daunting thing. So like there's sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk about this, or I do want to talk about this, or what are the questions going to be beforehand, because I need to know, like,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's in season there's a lot of compartmentalizing.
Wow. Well, I think it's beautiful the way you talk about it. And for sure, like somebody is resonating with this story. I mean, you already know you have your community of people that
Mhm.
you connect with and talk to.
Mhm.
Okay. Who was the first person you called after you won your medal? And was anybody in your family in Paris?
Yes. Most of my family was in Paris. First person I called after, I honestly don't know. Like everyone that was like in my life,
They were
like
there.
they were there. First person I called or talked to, I'm not really sure, honestly. I'm not really sure. But all my people were pretty much there that
Okay.
wanted to be
Okay.
there. So yeah.
I mean, I feel like you really got the like best experience because you did Paris for your first Olympics. Like
Mhm.
Tokyo first Olympics would have been a little bit like womp
Yes.
womp just because nobody could have been there.
Yeah. And I heard a lot of Olympians say that Tokyo was, yeah, just totally
Be a
different.
tough
Yeah, it
first
was a bit tough.
experience.
Not having people in the stands, not having your family and friends there. Like, yeah, I heard it was really hard. So to have my family there, I had my boyfriend there. Like, it was just a really good, like all my people are here. So it was really nice.
I watched the race and I don't like follow track like I follow marathoning and you were
Mhm.
new to me. And I
Okay.
was like, she's so happy. I was just like I was so excited for you and then to learn more about your story obviously.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, what an exceptional year and so many amazing things that happened.
Yeah.
Athlos
Mhm.
happened. Was that
Mhm.
that was 2024, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
last year.
September.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Athlos and we've got Grand Slam, like two
Mhm.
like game changer track and field events in this world.
Mhm.
Um You're one of the racers for Grand
Yes. Yes.
Slam.
Yes.
Okay, very exciting.
Yes.
Let's go to Athlos first, then we'll go
Okay.
to Grand Slam, and then I promise we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Um, Tell me what makes Athlos so special.
I think what makes Athlos special, but obviously, like it's a bunch of women competing, but it was the end of the season, but I really just felt very appreciated, and I felt very and not just for me, I felt that for all the women that were there,
Mm.
and that was a collective, like, you know, intentional. I think sometimes with like track meet, sometimes it can be very not intentional, and it can be very just, okay, here it is, here we got, and that's not how they treat professional athletes. Like when you
Mm.
go overseas and when you NBA, NFL, MLB, like everything they do is very intentional, curated for the athlete and making sure that they feel comfortable. And I think Athlos was and is something that is curated for the athletes, specifically for women athletes, female athletes in this space. So I love the intentionality that they did, from the gifts, from the food to the flight. Like it was very, very intentional. And obviously the money. Obviously, we talk about money a lot in this sport and how like athletes don't get paid as much. And obviously our contracts are undisclosed, so we can't talk about them. But I always tell people like, when they're undisclosed like that, a lot of times like women are being affected more severely and are being just because like, and Black women, just because they're not open doesn't mean that, there's not disparities. So, I think they were trying to fill that gap in the disparity of paying female athletes like good money. So, Athlos was great. It was a great experience. I love the intentionality behind it. I love the money and just like being like really respected. And I think sometimes you may not get that from other meets, and it can just be kind of hard because like I do this for my job, so it's just like why, like why, like you would never treat an NFL player like this. You would never treat like like you would never make them like walk up a flight of stairs with their bags and all this like in Europe and it's hot. Like you would never make them do that. So, I don't think I don't think any NFL player would do that.
They're getting the royal treatment.
Yeah, it's royal treatment because they understand like what we do with our bodies is very hard. Like it's a very hard task. Then add in being a woman, add in being Black, add in having endo. So it's just like, like I do a lot to show up to this line. And a lot of athletes do a lot. I don't know every athlete's story, but I do know a few other athletes. They do a lot to show up to the line. So, and we're not just doing it just to do it. Like, I started off my career unsigned and then I was signed and now I'm with the new shoe company. So, like we're not just out here doing it to do it. Like we're doing it because we want to have a livelihood, while we're in the sport and after the sport. And also we like to be treated well too. So I think those provided that space and they made it fun too. Like I feel like people all the time it's like talk about how do you bring more fans to the sport, and it can be hard. I definitely can be, but like I think they are trying new ways to interact with the fans, interact with the people, and I really like Athlos. I'm coming back this year to Athlos. Nice. I'm really excited about that, and excited to be a part of it again. So yeah,
I saw they have the biggest prize purse yet, $600,000 for the athletes. The biggest prize purse for a women's track meet. Is that how they're saying it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. And I love hearing you explain it because I've seen it from afar, but I haven't heard it talked about from the athlete's perspective. And I really appreciate how you describe that. And I love that you felt that you felt like that support and love. And like, I do think Athlos and Grand Slam are gonna be huge for bringing more fans into the sport. But like now, are you like holding Grand Slam to that? Like, am I gonna get the Athlos treatment?
I think Grand Slam so far has definitely been like that. So
okay, cool.
And I think they understand that as well. Like they understand the importance of like not just like obviously the pay is up there, even from 100K for first place to 10K to last place. Like, so some other meets don't have that yet. And it's been, it's trying. It's really trying because it's like we devote so much to this sport. And, we don't have like a union. We don't have life insurance, other stuff like that. We don't have some of those things that, normal like sports entities have. I think the money has to be there. The money has to be there for the athletes, and it'll make you want to compete and compete hard because, okay, I'm competing for 100K. Like that's some people's bonus. That's some people's shoe contract. That's literally some people's shoe contracts. So, or if they don't have a contract, they're set for the rest of the year. So, I think Grand Slam understands the importance of the financial part, but also like how they treat you and how, you know, they're really trying to set up a story, and I really, really appreciate that. And they were just actually out here like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and they were filming. There's a lot of athletes who train in Arkansas that are doing Athlos.
Okay.
So they came out and, like, you know, said hi and did some films. So, like, they're trying to create a story, and I think that's the most thing that pulls in fans. Like, you know, we talk about like a Michael Phelps or Michael Jordan, a Simone Jordan, Serena Williams. Like, they have a story, and I think what I tell people all the time, like with track, like I feel that sometimes, like, I know for a fact we all have a story. I know we do, but not all of us have access or a platform to tell our stories for a lot of times financial reasons. Like my first year when I ran, you know, I was unsigned. Like, no one knew I was unsigned until I got to Doha, and they're like, "Oh my God, we had no idea." Like, you know, like I didn't have access to the platform to tell you guys because I was, one, working many jobs to maintain my life story, and two, like no one was like, "Oh, let me talk to Brittany. Like, what's she doing?" Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I think we all have a story. It's just we don't all have an access or a platform to tell our story. And I think Athlos and a Grand Slam, they're trying to create the story by interviewing us, by talking to us, and hopefully getting that content out to create a story. And I think that's, you know, that's how you engage. Like, all these great athletes, they have a great story, and that's how you get a following, and that's how you say, "Oh, I want to support this person. I want to support this athlete because of this story." So yeah, I'm excited for Grand Slam, see how it goes. I think both of those meets will be really, you know, game changing for the sport. Seeing what else we could do, and I even said that about Athlos last year. Like, a lot of people talk about, like, what can we do? How can we do it? I'm like, we just gotta try it. We just gotta try it out. Like, you know, there's gonna be like bumps and, you know, issues on the way there, and, like, you know, not everything's gonna be perfect, but, like, you know, I try all the time, every day. I'm trying in practice. I'm failing. I'm trying. I'm failing. I'm trying. I'm failing. But, like, each time I do that, I'm getting closer to my goal. I'm getting closer to this. So, you know, like, I feel that, like, these organizations like Athlos and Grand Slam, like, they are people who are trying, and not just trying, just saying, like, "Oh, we're going to do something," but they're also backing it with finances. They're also backing it with, you know, how the goodie bags, how they treat you, how they talk. Like, they're also backing it not just by saying it, but they're actually doing it. So I'm excited for both of them.
Hey friends, if you're looking for an amazing way to stay hydrated this summer, I know your runs are getting sweaty because mine are getting really sweaty. Look no further than Cure Hydration. We know that water alone is not enough when we're running all these miles and we're staying so active. Cure Hydration is advanced hydration, plant-based, no sugar added, non-GMO, vegan formula, gluten-free, female founded, and this is your optimal hydration with clean ingredients. They've got some delicious flavors. I find myself drinking more water, well, it's water with Cure Hydration in it, than normal, just because I love the taste so much too. Some of my favorite flavors include the lemonade and the watermelon. Those are by far my two favorites. It's like summer in a glass. And this is the only hydration mix that is FSA, HSA eligible. That's pretty cool. Go to curehydration.com/another and use the code another for 20% off your first order. All right, friends, back to the show. It's so good. I love it. And, you know, it's like these long form interviews. I was just thinking, like, if I had heard you on a podcast like this, in this like long form before Paris, I was already so excited because your joy was like so there, like your big smile, like you could just see how happy you were.
Yes.
But if I had known more of your story before, and maybe if like Grand Slam had happened before, you know, all these things, more attention,
Yes.
it would have been that much more exciting.
Yes, and that's what, you know, and that's what people say all the time. They're like, there's this lady that I really love. She's part of Endo Co., which is like another nonprofit, and she messaged me after the trial. She was just like, "Oh, I just really like love like what you're doing. I'm really happy for you." Then 2 days later, she's like, oh my God, I just found out that you had endo. Now I feel like I really, really know you now.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you set the stage for the athletes to tell their story before the race or whatnot, like this is how you bring in fans. Like she would have known before and like, okay, like this is exciting. Like we share a commonality. We both live with this disease. Like we both live and we are trying to figure out all the stuff that comes with it. So yeah, like you have to like kind of like alley oop. You got to set it up and you got to dunk it in. But if you don't have that set up for the athletes, there's not going to be any dunk. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fun. Okay, Brittany, what is something professionally or personally that you have not done yet that you would like to do? Could be anything.
Professionally, haven't won gold yet. So that's like I'm in gold in anything. Like I've made the U.S. team. I got second 3 times so far for making the U.S. team. Obviously, it's a feat to make a team, but haven't won gold yet in that, and I haven't really won gold. So that's like something that I'm still on my list of like I want to win gold in some type of capacity, whether it's the U.S. team or on the world stage. Like I want to win gold. Outside of track, I would say something I haven't done. Oh, there's so many things I haven't done because like track just takes up so much of my life. Spring break. I've never had a spring break. I've never
had a spring break.
No. Me and my teammates were just talking about that. And spring break is in the middle of our track season.
Yeah, you can't. Well, I will say it's different for an athlete, but just like in life in general, 40 is the new 30. So, like you got lots to look forward to. So, you're all in now, but you have so many spring breaks where you still feel your young self and lots to look forward to.
Yes.
I was like not terrified to turn 40, but I was a little bit just like I felt this like stigma attached to it. Like
that's how I feel about 30 right now. I'm like, it just feels like this stigma. Like,
like old and irrelevant, but it's not. Nothing changes. Like it's just you are the same. So don't feel like that. 30 is amazing. I remember when I was like in my early 30s, I was like, I want to freeze time right here because I know this is like good. Like I know this decade is good. And then people tell me that for the 40s. So,
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
You got so much to look forward to. I was going to ask you, because you're turning 30 in like a few weeks. What are you? But like this is like in the middle of like Grand Slam 1 and Grand Slam 2. So you're just kind of like rocking through track season.
Yes, and I always tell people that like I've never not competed on my birthday. In which I've always ran well on my birthday.
You always have a race on that day?
Usually, or that week. Yeah. So Mount Sac was like, even in high school, like when I was competing, Mount Sac is always usually, it's like Easter and then the next week is Mount Sac or vice versa. And that's usually my birthday. So I'm always competing on my birthday. So and then this birthday, I might be competing. I'm not really sure like that week if I'll be doing something, but I have a couple stuff planned of what I want to do and a couple little outfits I want to wear and pictures I want to take. So definitely it won't be like I was telling my friend, I was like, I think I gonna do a lot more stuff after the season to celebrate. And I think it'd be a full year of celebration of 30.
100%.
So I think that's what my theme is for this year.
100%. Anytime you're going into the next decade.
Yeah. It has to be like a full, like,
Yeah. There's no like one day celebration.
No. It's not.
No way. I did that when I turned 40. It was like a whole big thing. Like
okay, good to know.
I got a caterer, like photographer, like I went all in, and then like it was obnoxious. My husband also turned 40 that month, and he was like, he wouldn't have even acknowledged it. But you got to go all in for these decade birthdays.
You do. So if you see me online, just know
I'm excited.
Yes, you're gonna see a lot of content for 30. So.
Yeah. I want to see the outfits. I'm excited. Okay, 2 more questions. What is the best, most recent book you've read?
Oh, I haven't. I read a lot, but
I feel like you're a big reader.
I am. Did I finish it? Do I have to finish it?
No, just like any books that you're loving.
I haven't picked it up in a while. It's probably been a week or two. Emma Hayes' book, A Completely Different Game, My Leadership Playbook. She is the head coach of United States Women's National Team. I've been reading her book. She also has endo. She also talks about it in the book. So yeah, I've been reading her book. Obviously I'm not a coach, but like it's just a different perspective, like a coaching perspective, seeing her side and like just seeing what she talks about and navigates all that stuff, and being a coach and you know what it looks like to be a coach. So and also the book is a lot about leadership and what that looks like in all aspects. So that book has been really influential. And then last year, Open. There's this book called Open by Andre Agassi. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name. He's like really, really famous. Tennis player. Yeah. So his book was like, did you read a book and it like changed your life? Like those.
Is it that good?
I'm telling you, you have to read it.
I have it and I've never read it.
No, you have to read it. No, I'm telling you.
Okay.
The book was so good. And I think at that time I was like dealing with the injury. It just like, he was so authentic and so vulnerable in sharing his story and honoring his story, not hiding away, like really honoring his story. And, you know, I talked about why in this podcast, like he always was the kind of like running theme, like was like, why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for, my dad or my mom or whatnot? And yeah, it was just interesting to see an athlete like through words communicate their whys and why they do, and also like you were able to see like how his why changed as he got older. So yeah, you have to read it. It is so good. It's so freaking good.
I don't know why I'm sitting on this book. I've owned it for like 5 years, and I just like I picked it up at like a Goodwill. I always like go whenever I'm at a thrift store or whatever. I always go to the books because I'm like, there's usually like a gem in there. And I picked it up at a random Goodwill, and I'm just like, I still haven't read it. So
it's good.
Okay, all right. What is your last message to leave with the audience today?
My last message I would like to leave with the audience today is, I think it's important. I feel like my whole journey, my whole life has been like creating what it looks like to have success and what it feels like to be successful and on and off the track. And like for a while, like sometimes when I said I didn't go to like a big track school, and I wasn't signed right out of college, and I was just like, oh, I feel like I just have to like, it's always like a fight for me, and it felt like always such a fight. And I'm realizing now, with me being 30 probably, that, you know, a reframe of like, I had to really like go through a lot of things to discover a lot of things about me. And as I'm getting older, I'm like not trying to frame it as a fight, even though sometimes it feels like that. But like these processes, these things I'm going through is like discovering for me. And I would never have like had these realizations about myself if I didn't like go through some of this stuff, the good and the bad. So yeah, just like, and you can create that. Like you can create what that looks like for you. You may not have the greatest or this great coach or this great school or, you know, starting out of college, but like you can create that for you. Like you have that power to create that for you. So yeah, that would be my last message.
Brittany, thank you so much.
Welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you really for having me.
Okay, everybody, thanks so much for being here today. Thanks, Brittany, for coming on the podcast. What an awesome conversation. I am cheering for you all the way. You all make sure you go follow Brittany on Instagram. She's _ Brittany Shamir. That's Brittany, BrittanyShamir. You can find me. I'm Lindsay Hine 626. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and email. You can email me at lindsay@sandyboyproductions.com. Check out all the shows in our network at sandyboyproductions.com. A lot of announcements and ad reads and all the things this week, but I am so thankful you have stuck around to the end. If you're going to be at the Blue Ridge Marathon in Roanoke, Virginia on April 12th, I hope I will see you there. Also hope I'll see you at the mini marathon in Indianapolis and our live show there. So many exciting things coming up. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week on I'll Have Another with Lindsay Hine podcast.
April showers bring big savings. Save up to $7,500 on a mini split or heat pump combo. Need a spring refresh? Take $1,000 off a garage heater, $50 off home sale inspections, $300 off a humidifier, and get half off dryer vent cleaning with any duct cleaning. And get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or save $80 when you get them done at the same time. Don't wait. These deals won't stick around longer than a rain puddle on a sunny day. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today.